Hello and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you guys doing? I'm going way back, to where it all began. 7 things we love about living in Germany as Americans. That sounds fantastic. I always am here for the German love. Let's see what there is to love. And look, on the 100,000th view. 100,000th view. Check them out. My Travel BF. Link down below. Let's do it.
So after living in Germany for 1 year, what do we love about living here?
Hell yeah.
So after living in Germany for 1 year, there's also things we hate, but we're not gonna get to those in this video. So today it's all
Just had to go and say that, huh?
positive, and we're gonna highlight on all the things we love about living in
Not what I was expecting is the first thing he says in this video.
Germany. One of the #1 things we really love about living in Germany is that we're constantly surrounded by history. There is history everywhere, whether positive or negative, it's history. And that's something we didn't always feel like we got in the United States. While yes, there was history, it wasn't.
Even just the architecture just looks historic.
That's something we didn't always feel like we got in the United States. While yes, there was history,
What the heck? Like, what? How do you guys build this shit? How does that get a permit in Germany? Like, what is the engineering here? This house is just held up by nothing. It's not a house, but whatever that is.
it wasn't quite so old. So just living here and being surrounded by that and constantly learning new facts.
I'm already pausing again. But
So just living here and
the fact that you have like shingles on the side,
being surrounded
it's like a wall made of shingles, is just interesting. I hadn't seen that. It's really pretty.
by that and constantly learning new facts every single day about where you live and the history behind it is something we, like I said, absolutely love about living here in Germany.
That's something you don't get here in America.
One of the top things we absolutely love about living in Germany is the people. And now this might come as a little bit of a shock because German people are known for being a little bit cold, but we haven't found that to be the case. And while we do have a big international community here, the Germans that we have met and become friends with have been absolutely amazing and always willing to help out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you hear people basically just say, they're not as open as like Americans, but based off what I have interpreted, digitally through you guys commenting and stuff and learning so much about Germany, it just really seems like the people are very genuine, they're very authentic. You guys, for the most part, have good hearts, which I really appreciate in someone. So, like, maybe when you first meet them, it's not some loud, boisterous, which is fine. But, instead it's a little bit more subdued, but a little bit more genuine.
So perhaps one of the biggest and most important reasons we love living in Germany is the safety. Germany as a country feels super safe, especially when compared to the United States. And the #1 reason for that is lack of guns. Because in the United States, as we all know, people can have guns, but working in schools and having to do active shooter drills is something that's absolutely crazy in the United States. And after we've lived in a country like Germany, or even Spain for that matter, where people don't generally have guns like they do in the US, you just feel at ease and so much safer.
That's interesting. I mean, he has a special kind of perspective being someone who works in a school. That would be really unsettling, wouldn't it? Just having to do those drills and be prepared for that potential, even though it's unlikely, it's a potential. Just when you think it's unlikely, it happens in your town. So, it definitely can happen. And the fact that you can kind of be at ease in general, knowing nobody's armed. It's kind of funny because I would actually be a little bit more comfortable like confronting people in a weird way. Like, sometimes here in America, you want to say something to somebody, but you're like, I'm just gonna relax because I don't know if they're armed. There's even been people to shoot people while driving, you know, like out of road rage. So that even crosses my mind here in America. That's pretty sad, isn't it? Like, someone will cut me off and I'll honk at them and I'll be like, you know what? I'm not going to go drive up next to their car. You know, not that I was going to like do anything crazy, but like, I'm going to purposely like stay back a little bit because I don't know. Maybe this person's psychotic and has a gun.
Another example of safety is with children. Children are able to leave school and just simply walk home, maybe stop, get something at the kiosk with their friends, and get home totally safe in the city. That's not something that's super common at all in the United States. Usually
Very impressive.
children have to go on a bus, get home. They can't just walk around the city like you see here.
I think in general, people are babied here in America, and it has only gotten worse over the generations. You know, I mean, to be honest, you talk to older generations and they're like, yeah, we used to walk to school. We used to do this. We used to do that. We used to run around and, you know, the city and, you know, but then at the same time, they're the ones that make these like restrictions and clamp down like, oh, it's not safe to, you know, do anything. You can never take your eye off your child or else you're a bad parent. You know, essentially is how it feels a lot of the time. So that's kind of ironic that they're the ones saying, oh, we used to be more safe, but they're the ones also then clamping down on it. But yeah, it's only gotten worse here in America, it seems like, you know, as time progresses, you just get, you know, it's like every time there's a news story, oh, a kid was kidnapped doing this. It's like, you know, walking to the movie store. I guess kids can't walk to the movie store anymore, you know? Scratch that off the list. You're not allowed to walk to a movie store. You might get kidnapped, you know, and so those things build up over time and it only gets worse. It's a terrible thing.
When children get released from school, and this can happen as early as first grade. So overall, the safety in
First grade. Oh my God.
Germany is something we absolutely love about living here.
That is impressive. Look at that. Even that architecture is just stunning. Your guys' design is so beautiful.
The public healthcare system is something we absolutely love about living in Germany. And
Yeah,
that's because even though, yes, we do pay about 45% in taxes to the government, so a lot gets taken out of your check, that's going to scare some Americans away immediately. But when you go to the doctor or even go to the ER like I had to do, you are not worried about going bankrupt. Everything is super affordable and it barely costs you anything, including when you have to get medication. The cost is so minimal, it's incredible. And that
Here in America, you never know. It's like roulette. You have no idea how much your medication might cost. It could be free. I mean, with insurance, it could be free. Could cost $1. Could cost $20. Could cost $400. Could cost $1,000. You know, you just don't. And they don't even tell you. It's the weirdest thing. I think it's because a lot of, you know, the doctors here are rich. So they don't even think about it. They're just like, here you go. Yeah. Yeah, I'll write you a prescription for this. It's like, doc, that's $1,000 a week. You think I can afford that?
That's something we absolutely love because back in the US, we would avoid going to the doctor. Even as healthy people with good health insurance, we'd still avoid going to the doctor.
It's probably why Americans have a shorter lifespan. Because they avoid, like, it's just a hard, intangible thing to track. How often people aren't going to the doctor because they're sick or because they don't want to pay for it. But they probably should, you know? Obviously that contributes to a shorter lifespan in general.
Necessary because of the fear of a bill. Here in Germany, while yes, you do pay a lot of taxes again, it goes to something that helps everybody. It helps all society, it helps you out, and you shouldn't have to fear going bankrupt or being healthy.
You know, taxes, it's an interesting thing. If I felt like my taxes were actually doing something, I'd feel a lot better about paying taxes. As it is now, what do I feel about taxes? I hate them. I hate them. I feel like I'm being robbed. Because, to be frank, I just don't see much given back to me as the taxpayer. You know, we don't have free healthcare. We don't have free education. I'm still paying student loans. You know? We don't have free childcare. We don't have maternity leave. Why are you taking so much of my paycheck? What do I get? You know, it just feels like robbery. So, of course, that leads a lot of Americans to be anti-tax. And you know what that means? They're right-wing. So that's a little bit of a hint to you as why it's an interesting little feedback loop as to why Americans might be more conservative for a reason you might not even really expect. Because maybe if we actually had universal health care, some people might not be so anti-tax.
If you're liking content like this, what it's like living abroad in Germany or other places, as well as travels, make sure to check out all of our other videos and subscribe right here so you get notified of them right away. Now, back to the video.
And that, I mean, for those wondering, that contributed, that kind of idea, that mindset, contributed to how Trump became president, you know, because it's like, as an American, you're like, where are my taxes going? Oh, they're going to the military. And what's the military doing? Oh, they're fighting on behalf of other countries. You know, we're sending a bunch of money to other countries, you know. And as much as I personally, for example, support Ukraine, I'm just saying that is what a lot of Americans like. The mindset is, it's like, I'm paying all this money in tax. I get nothing back for it. And it's all going to the military. And the military is just going to the rest of the world. And I feel like I'm poor. You know, inflation has made everything more expensive. I have a lower standard of living, and we're sending a bunch of money to around the world. That's exactly right there. If you ever wondered, how did Trump become elected? That's basically it. That's at least half the pie, okay? That's half of it. And I'm not even saying, please don't misconstrue. I'm not saying I agree with it all. I'm just explaining that's how it feels sometimes to a lot of Americans.
Subscribe right here so you get notified of them right away. Now, back to the video. So going with transportation, another thing we absolutely love about Germany is biking. And it's so easy and
Why is his chin strap so loose? I just have to ask that. If you're gonna wear a helmet, you tell me if I'm wrong, but shouldn't it be like on? Like if you fall off, the helmet's just gonna slide back, you're gonna hit your head.
convenient. You can get around almost everywhere, and sometimes it's even easier and faster than public transportation, and certainly...
Do you have to wear a helmet? Maybe he's wearing a helmet only because he has to.
...than driving, especially...
I'm looking that up. Is that a law? I feel like I saw that the other day. Is it law to... are helmets required? No, they're not mandatory. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right.
When you factor in parking. And then public transport, easy and convenient. You can get around almost everywhere, and sometimes it's even easier and faster than public transportation, and certainly than driving, especially when you factor in parking. And
it's funny to say, oh, certainly. Bicycling, certainly faster than driving. Yeah. America's so... A lot of stuff in America is just so sparse. You know, it's located so far away. You go, oh, I got to go to the grocery store. It's 8 miles away. Granted, that's not that far for a bicycle. But guess what? The road is this big, and the cars are this big, and they barely both even fit crossing each other on a road. You're going to die on a bicycle, basically.
For that, we don't even have to buy a car here. We don't need one to live because we can cycle or, as we said, take public transportation everywhere. It makes it so easy. Plus, because they actually...
And another thing about public transportation is it probably feels a lot safer when there's no guns. You know? Like, people are kind of afraid of public transportation here.
Invest in cycling infrastructure, and therefore more people cycle. Cars are watching out for you, other bikes are watching out for you, pedestrians are watching out for you, and a lot of the cycling infrastructure is actually protected, so you're not even in the street at all, which makes it super easy for less confident bikers like Becca, which she would admit, to actually cycle within the city and get to and from places, making it an effective mode of transportation.
That's so badass. What's he doing? Okay, this is not sponsored, but this is cool, isn't it? I'm going to see. I always do this. Search with Google Lens. I want to see what statue this is and what building. I need to be sponsored, right? Like, how is this not sponsored by Google, guys? Google, send me $5 billion. Come on, I'm showing off the the feature. So it's the archer in front of the town hall of Hanover. How freaking cool is that? That's a badass statue. See, we just don't have badass statues here in America. At least not enough of them.
One of the
Christmas market.
thing we absolutely love here in Germany is that parents don't have to be isolated just because they're parents. We always had the feeling that once you were a parent in the United States, you were kind of isolated. You did your stuff at home. Maybe you took your kids to daycare or somewhere and then you went back home. There weren't many public places that were acceptable for adults and kids. Here in Germany, for example, beer gardens, all of them have playgrounds, which is absolutely incredible. You see beer gardens here where maybe they can enjoy food or drink with their friends, but then their kids
have a playground at the beer garden. That sounds freaking amazing. You guys are geniuses.
Kids are right there and they just run off to the playground that's there.
Problem is all the adults that get drunk and then go play on the playground and fall off.
People aren't necessarily worried, and perhaps this also connects to the safety part that I mentioned before, but the fact that families can go out and there are places for adults and for kids at the same time, and that it's a total societal norm.
Here's what I want to know. This is kind of a weird question, but if I'm at the beer garden, you know, if I have my son, he's almost 3 years old. You know, let's say he's 3 years old. Would it be socially acceptable for me to just go sit there, drink a beer, and say, go play on the playground, 3-year-old son? That seems a little too young. Like, he can't even, like, you know, fully talk. So that's probably a slightly questionable, depending on if you can see the playground, you know. Anyway, I don't know.
It gets so great, and it's one of the things we love about living here.
And a lot of playgrounds, especially the German playgrounds, probably not really made for a 3-year-old.
The public transportation in Germany.
Oh my god, that reminds me. Okay, this is janky. I'm just going to show you on my phone, but I thought this was a video out of Germany at first because it looks like a German playground. Apparently, this is a playground in FDR Park. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You see that kid? Is this happening at the beer garden? Here, I'll play it again. You see the kid on top of the slide? What the actual... See, this is why we can't have nice things here in America.
Is something we love about living here. It is wonderful, and it connects the country so well. In fact, we've never lived in a country before that's so connected by rail specifically. Spain, for example, is well connected, but it relies much more on buses than rail, as the trains are a lot newer there. Where in Germany, you can get almost anywhere you want by train. It might not be the quickest or necessarily on time, but just the fact that Germany is so well connected by rail is one of the things we definitely love about living in Germany. Especially when you...
Seems like America just can't figure out how to do this. Like, there's been projects as far as trains, passenger trains. I mean, we have, like, Amtrak. That's about it. And it's, you know, very limited on where it goes. And there's been projects to, you know, add more trains, and it's like, somehow they cost billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars over budget, and they never get done.
Consider the 49 euro Deutschland ticket that they have going on right now. So while the longer we live here, there will definitely be more things we find that we love about Germany, but also things we hate. And that video is coming out soon, so make sure to subscribe so you get notified of that right away. But in the
beautiful city.
Meantime, make sure to check out our other videos that will be appearing on the screen right here, and we'll see you over at our other...
Go check out their channel. That was great. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.